Welcome back to Dark Case Stories, where we uncover the hidden truths behind the world's most chilling and sinister crimes. If you're drawn to the shadows where secrets lie, you're in the right place. In today's episode, we dive into a modern-day crime story gripping the Philippines POGO, or the Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators. What started as a billion-dollar industry has transformed into a criminal underworld of exploitation, kidnapping, and corruption.
Akala nyo China, no? Nandito lang tayo sa Quirino Avenue sa Parañaque. Napapasa na raw Chinatown. Bakit? Ayan, no. Kitang-kita kasi ang pagdami ng mga Chinese at Chinese establishments dito. Bakit nga ba sila dumarami? Karamihan kasi sa mga Chinese na nandito, nagtatrabaho sa mga offshore casino. Ang tawag dito, POGO o Philippine Offshore Gaming Operations. Offshore dahil ang mga kliyente nila ay mga dayuhan abroad na kadalasan ay mga Chinese. Bawal kasi ang magsugal sa mainland China. Pero hindi sila lahat from China. Meron ding players from Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan at iba pa. Kung nasa Pilipinas ka, sorry, hindi ka pwedeng tumaya. Pwede silang maglaro ng live casino games, sports betting tulad ng karera ng kabayo gamit lang ang computers o smartphones, at online random number generated games, parang slot machine pero nasa internet.
In 2016, the Philippine government made a controversial move granting licenses to foreign companies to run online gambling operations targeting Chinese players. This initiative, known as POGO, promised economic benefits with billions of pesos in revenue and thousands of jobs for Filipinos. But behind the gleaming facades of POGO offices lay a darker reality. Foreign workers, mostly Chinese nationals, were brought in under false pretenses, subjected to exploitative labor, and held captive by the very companies that promised them prosperity.
It is part of a $50 billion industry, expected to double in size by 2024. But in the Philippines, it is linked to criminal activity involving corruption.
As a frontline immigration officer, I have personally witnessed various illegal transactions over the years.
Human trafficking and kidnapping.
Itong isang tao na to ay nag-apply ng POGO. Ayaw magtrabaho, ibibinta sa'yo. So ayaw mo rin magtrabaho, ibibinta sa kanya.
It's a deadly business.
嗰一個檔司哦，正鏡頭走，原來個仔頭機哦，你行官，阿俾拍屍官。
Welcome to the dark side of online gambling.
As the POGO industry flourished, so did the crimes linked to it. Kidnapping for ransom became rampant, with Chinese nationals often targeted by organized crime syndicates.
Chinese men kidnapped a colleague and demanded almost 1 million pesos in ransom from the victim's relatives. The suspects also recorded how they tortured the victim and sent the video to his family. Greg Gregorio has the rest of the details.
You can see in this video an almost naked man tied to a chair. In another clip, the victim was on the floor when he was kicked on his gut. He then vomited blood. The victim was a Chinese man who was allegedly kidnapped by his fellow Chinese. And these were the videos that the suspect sent to the victim's parents. The relatives paid 120,000 yuan, or almost 1 million pesos, for his release. After the victim was released, his family sought help from the PNP anti-kidnapping group. On Friday, the cops arrested 5 suspects. They were identified as Deng Xiaoyu, Zhang Yi, Wu Xiaoping, So Da-ping, and Zhu Ling-kiao. They are allegedly part of a kidnap for ransom group that targets their fellow Chinese. According to the police, this group also prey on other foreigners who play on famous casinos in Pasay City.
Ganun pa rin yung modus na pag natalo, walang pangbayad, kukunin, i-abduct, kidnapin, tapos hingin ng ransom.
When the suspects were presented to the media, one of them admitted that he was the one who kicked the victim. However, he said that the scene was only simulated and that the blood was just ketchup. Meanwhile, the suspect said that he only tagged along. This one claimed he was just selling cigarettes to the suspects when he was arrested. These 2 suspects insisted that they don't know each other and that they're just tourists. 3 of the alleged kidnappers told cops that they've also been tortured because they failed to pay their debt. They claimed that they're only following the syndicate's orders as payments. But according to the police, all 5 of them were inside a unit when they conducted the operation.
Lahat ng mga ito naman ay naabutan natin lahat doon sa safe house nila, doon sa Pinecrest. Kung napatunayan talaga na hindi sila kasabwat, meron din tayong justice system na pinairal dito sa Pilipinas. Kung hindi talaga sila kasama doon, mapapatunayan din sa korte.
Meanwhile, another victim also came forward to the police and said he was recently kidnapped and tortured by unknown men. He denied owing them any money. He said he was eventually released after kidnappers failed to receive any ransom. He's not sure if they're the same men who are in custody.
That's true.
The PNP is still looking for 3 other suspects who managed to escape. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Is a journalist who's been investigating the POGOs for the past few years.
From what I learned, no, it's not very transparent because they tell you that you're going to be a translator or someone who will work for IT, and then when they get here, they realize that it's a gambling company. Well, technically, it's correct to say that they work for an IT company, but then again, it's an IT company that caters to online casinos. And I guess the Chinese workers figure it out late because they're scared, they're afraid because gambling is not allowed in China.
Sasabihin nila na pag sa Pilipinas ka, huge amount of salaries and a lot of accommodation and including vehicles. Pagdating nila rito, lahat ng pangako na yan, negative. Negative yan. Pagdating nila rito, kukunin yung kanilang passport. Pag mag-resist ang kanilang would-be victim, tatawagan na yung mga kamag-anak o asawa, bubugbugin, di pa pakainin.
This deception has trapped many Chinese nationals in the Philippines. Miss C is a Chinese national and a former POGO employee. Her recruiters misrepresented the job in the Philippines to her. They concealed the fact that she would be working for a gambling company.
你那咩哦，講我點菲律賓嘅工作可是要點電腦做事，要甲位客人講話，只有安尼人。
However, once Miss C arrived in Manila, she suspected that something was not right.
農莊是相反的啦，當阮到遮哦，阮的薪金是13,000港幣，了阮的公司佫甲阮扣5,000塊港幣啦。
Her working and living conditions in the Philippines were not what was promised by the recruiters in China.
Tanggung kau Manila o, itogon kaya sige suwe king chua o, laibin unang king pang, diyan laibin opwe lang, so tayo abo chingki la. Sige po kaya kongsi o, jilepay cho chit dit, chidit cho diap si siyo, sigun si bo hiu siya kaya la, jiu togon sa go hunting eh, ja, chua ja, 就是这个婚姻头公休息啊，安尼lang。我做头家哦，是对我做东西哦，真歹死啦。那有创唔着，我做东西那创唔着，就是踮我面头前咧发阮咧骂阮，并且我拍阮。阮的头家哦，甲做是大。
Many of these cases go unreported. The victims are often too afraid to seek help, fearing retaliation not only from their captors but from their employers.
Ito man yung karaoke nila sa loob?
Hindi pa po.
Mamaya, sa mga. Hindi masasarap na pagkain, hindi po.
Yung sa biraw sa kanila natin sa loob. Doon sila sa dulo, nagtawag sa siya. Sa taas sila na mayroon. Wala naman masyado. Ha?
Meron yung prostitution doon sa taas.
Doon ba yung prostitution?
Ito, right.
Oo. Meron na doon sir.
Kailan natin dito sa taas. Last sa room yan.
Dito na natin dinadala.
Hindi, doon na lang. Hindi na sila lumalabas. Kasi hindi ko gaya ng iba to na.
Kung sila mong babae, sa kwarto nila.
Oo. Meron doon sa kwarto pang ano talaga. Pang...
Gamit.
Enjoy mo?
Yes, sir.
Babae mo.
Halong wheat sa sigarilyo. Ha? Parang hindi lang sigarilyo to. Parang iba yun.
Parang yun. Sinin ka. Baba. Sa spa. Saan yung spa?
Sa ground floor.
Sa ground floor. Ito yung parang barracks nila.
Opo. Ilang floors po ito, sir?
5. Pati yung... Hey! Hey! Shh! Come here! Come here! Ano yan? Hindi mo? Kailangan ba namin ba, sir? Sige. Kala ko. Kala ko naglalakad. Palabasin niyo lahat. Palabasin niyo! Kaya ka-video ka, ma. Yes, sir. Ano sila dito? Mga dorm ng babae. Dito mga babae. Yes, sir. Excuse me. You speak English. You're Vietnamese.
Yes.
You all
Vietnam.
How about you?
Corruption has long plagued the enforcement of regulations on POGOs. Some local government officials have been accused of receiving bribes to protect illegal operations, allowing syndicates to continue exploiting foreign workers.
Maaari niyo po bang banggitin ang pangalan ng inyong asawa?
Si Myla Roque po.
And I understand, Attorney Harry Roque, that your wife, Myla Roque, is likewise a government employee. Do you confirm?
Former. She no longer is.
She used to be a government employee.
Yes, ma'am.
May we be enlightened, Attorney Roque? Saan po ba siya nagtrabaho before?
Well, let me correct, ma'am, your statement that she was a government employee. She was not, because she was a private representative to the Board of Trustees of the Pag-ibig Fund. And her category as a as a private sector representative did not make her a government employee, as in fact, she was not covered by GSIS, and there's even an issue on whether or not the private sector representative should even file a SALN.
Nevertheless, Attorney Roque, as private representative of Pag-ibig Board of Trustee, what benefits or allowances does she receive?
She gets per diem, per hearing.
Per diem per hearing.
Per meeting, I should say.
Per meeting.
Yes,
And may we be enlightened, kailan po ba siya na-appoint as private representative dito sa Pag-ibig Board of Trustees?
If I'm not mistaken, it was around 2017.
2017?
If I'm not mistaken po.
When did it end, Attorney Roque?
It ended, if I'm not mistaken, 2022 or 23, Your Honor. I cannot remember exactly.
2022 and 2023. And you will agree with me that during the time of the appointment of your wife as private representative of Pag-ibig Board of Trustee, the president was then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Alice Guo, a former mayor of Banban, became involved in the Philippine Offshore Gaming Operator POGO industry through a complex web of political connections and financial incentives. Although previously known for her role as a public official, she allegedly transitioned into POGO operations after her term ended, driven by the significant economic promise the industry offered. under mounting pressure from the public and key politicians, the Philippine government began an again aggressive crackdown on POGOs. Multiple raids in late 2023 and early 2024 resulted in the closure of several unregistered operations, with numerous arrests made. Her involvement raised suspicions about how former politicians leveraged their influence in the POGO industry, with allegations that she helped provide protection to illegal operators in exchange for bribes. Guo's participation underscores the intersection of politics and illicit economic activities, where former officials like her allegedly use their insider knowledge to exploit legal grey areas. This has added to the corruption concerns surrounding the POGO industry, which has led to widespread issues like human trafficking, money laundering, and illegal immigration. But will these efforts be enough? As of 2024, thousands of POGO workers remain trapped in a system of exploitation. And while the government has made strides in regulating the industry, the question remains, how deep does the corruption go? The fight to dismantle the criminal syndicates behind POGOs is far from over. Thousands of victims still need help, and the government's response, though improving, remains slow. The PO industry has become a symbol of the dangerous intersection of business crime and human exploitation. If you found this story insightful and want to hear more about other chilling true crime cases, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an episode.